Hello, hello, hello. Sorry for the extra long standby screen, but that's something you might need to get used to as I start doing things more properly. Maybe next time I'll remember to move my mic before I turn it on. But yeah, hi. We're gonna finish stream. We're gonna finish drawing the picture we started last week. I did do a little warm-ups before starting, but not enough, so I'm gonna do a little bit of warm-ups beforehand. Also, you know, let people mingle in and whatnot. Good time zone to you too, Ark. Y'all should know how much of a sacrifice it is for me to stream tonight because Fairy Ichika, the girl that I'm drawing in the other picture, she's streaming right now. She's doing a recorder, tin whistle, and singing concert, and me skipping that and waiting for the VOD, that is a huge sacrifice, so you all need to be very thankful. Also, I will not begrudge anyone who skips watching me draw to go watch that. Yeah, I'm drawing a sword. Yeah, I'm just gonna bust this out. You know, little thing to get used to drawing a little bit again, because I should have been drawing yesterday. I had so much stuff that I should be working on, but I took all of yesterday off from drawing, and I normally only not draw on Sundays, but I took yesterday off as well, just to rest. I was not feeling too good. I actually ended up sleeping like 10 hours last night. It's crazy. Possibly even a little more. Jeez. Oh, chair made a noise. Don't know what type of hilt I'm going to give this, so I'm going to do this a little more realistically, like how swords are actually made. Back before I developed opposable thumbs, yeah, but ever since then it's actually been closer to 6 to 7. I actually blame human food more so than becoming human shaped. Something about eating nothing but bugs and bamboo all day was probably what made me lethargic and sleepy every single day. Also, hello SL, hello Ark, hello Nanana. Welcome back. Hope you're all doing okay. Hello Lunky. I do not know what type of crossguard I want to give this. It is a backsword, so a backsword, a straight back, one single cutting edge. Falchions. God, what were they called? Falchions are like my favorite type of backsword, but there's another one, Longsmesser. It's Langsmesser, or long knife, also known as Kriegsmesser, or war knife. And then, of course, you know, most Eastern swords are also back swords of some sort. The only non-backsword I can think of that is from, like, east of India is the Chinese Jiang, I believe it's pronounced. Jiang. Or is it Jia? Maybe there's no G at the end. Maybe there's only an N in the official translation. But, yeah. Those are a kind of straight sword that's used in China. But I can't think of a single Japanese straight sword that we would consider a sword in size. Almost all of the Japanese straight swords are basically just big old knives. Now, you could argue that a sword is just a big old knife, but I feel it's a little different. Once you break around the 9 to 12 inch range on the blade, everything starts changing. Anyway. Yeah, knives, or kniffs. Put a little bolster before putting the plats on. Bottom cap. So, fun fact about swords. You would think so. You'd think so. And legally speaking, in the Middle Ages of Germany, it was. Well, technically, it was how. Okay, not necessarily true. Generally speaking, in the Middle Ages of Germany and France, the shape was the difference, all the way through until the concept of the integral tang was created. Basically, the way this is being made, the way this... Okay, let's do another layer. Let's do a new color to make this easier. This right here is called a tang. It's technically... I want to say that name comes from Italy, but I can't say that with any confidence. In the late medieval to the Renaissance era, this was integral to the legality of whether it was a knife or a sword. A sword had a tang that went all the way through the handle and either screwed into or was peened over onto the grip. Oh, sorry, onto the pommel. So, like, you know, it either had threads or it went all the way through. Then you heated the tip and hammered it over. That's what made it legally a sword through the late medieval and Renaissance era. Knives were simply just, so here's the blade, the tang just went all the way down, and then the wood was just riveted onto it, the wood of the handle. And that made it a knife. And that's how the, what's it called? The Langauge and Kriegsmesser happened. Because unless you were a professional soldier in late medieval Germany, it was illegal to own a sword. For a commoner to own a sword. So they got around it by making really, really big knives, and exploiting that loophole of it's all about the tang size and how it's mounted to the handle. And I hope I didn't babble that too much. I hope it makes sense. And if there's any further questions, I am more than happy to answer them, because I do love me some swords. Welcome to Cornaria. I love swords. They are. If it was socially acceptable, I would carry one into my daily life. Oh no, they understood you had that giant knife too. That the slab of meat that you'd be cutting was some jerkwad in a back alley somewhere who tried to steal your gold. There were no... It was purely about having the noblemen feel cool for having a weapon that commoners weren't allowed to have. It literally had nothing to do with, like, the legality of self-defense. So, you know, so much changes, so many things stay the same. The rich people make special laws so that they can remain cooler than the poor people. Oops, I was getting topical there, sorry. Oh, wrong layer. The only warm-ups I did before starting streaming was just anatomy and composition, so I still do need to do a little coloring warm-up before I get to work on Ichi-chan's picture. I thought something as simple as a sword would do it would be great. Oh no, I guess you all do want to see me in a swimsuit. I was about to ask, do you really want to see me in a swimsuit? But I was like, no way, you probably do. I am cuter than your mom. Oh wait, wait. Sorry, no. I know a little too much to make that joke. I'm sorry. I'm cuter than everyone else's mom. I apologize. Oopsie. School uniform swimsuit. I'm not actually a big fan of those. Like, I don't dislike them, and I do love me some one-piece swimsuits. But I'm not a big fan of the school swimsuit. Oh god. Sling keenies. Hey, you're an artist. You know how to draw. Make it happen. No, don't. No, don't. Unless... No. I'm just joking. Oh no, I may have driven arc off with reference to your mom. If you see this, I'm so sorry. I've forgotten I'm gonna beat myself up about that, but I'm gonna try not to focus on it while I'm streaming. Okay. Thank you for alleviating my stress, but please, even if you don't have much to say, say stuff. Even if it's inane or something. I don't know. I don't care. I just like having you around. Thing is, next week's picture is actually going to be starting on something that isn't dictated by, that didn't dictate that I would draw at my, like, it's actually open, but I actually don't have anything pre-planned because I didn't like dictate what I was going to draw next week. I would just draw myself in a bikini. I mean, that would be cute as hell. I don't know if Susan would like it, but well, speaking of, well, actually, this isn't Susan so much as I think the robot's not understanding the permissions, but I actually got like 12 copyright strikes today. For the, nothing that affects my channel. Like, I'm not in any trouble with YouTube over it. But, the music I was listening to last time and the last drawing stream and when I was drawing after the crosscode stream, I got striked for like almost all of it because apparently their robots didn't recognize the fact that the owners put the songs up for free use on streams. I don't think that's the algorithm so much as it is privately owned copyright bots. Because YouTube doesn't go looking for copyright infringement. They wait for the copyright owners to do something about it. It's a less than ideal system, but the more I learn about it, the more I realize that all of the complaining that people who barely understand it make, it's because they barely understand it. They don't actually know how it works. And basically YouTube's automated system is the only real way to avoid getting lawyers involved immediately. Because the way it works is the owner of the copyright will then, or at least someone claiming to own the copyright, as with a couple of my earlier copyright notifications. I did get some before, but those I just didn't even worry about fighting. They were on the Chrono Trigger streams about the music in the game itself. I just muted those sections of the video. But the way the copyright system works is the owner of the copyright will strike a video mentioning where their copyrighted content is being used. Then the owner of the video then has as much time as they want to dispute it, which then creates a 30-day process where the owner of the copyright either has to go, okay, yeah, your dispute is right, or say, okay, no, it's not right, I'm going to get lawyers involved. And if that didn't have that system, lawyers would have to get involved immediately. And nobody wants to get involved with lawyers unless they absolutely have to. points did I get for drawing on a white background? Oh yeah, it would be so much worse if the robots were, if the automated system wasn't the way it was handled. Okay, select, invert select, background back up, good. Got my color picked. Yeah, it is turning out to be more of a NIF because I was initially thinking SARD, but because of how wide I made the blade, I'd have to do a lot more tweaking to make it proper SARD. But I was originally thinking like a Kriegsmesser or a Falchion, but nah, it's too small for that. It's a Kniff. Especially with that handle type. I really did, didn't I? Ugh, okay. Jeez. The difference between a dagger and a knife, barring what tabletop RPGs tell you, is purely the language the word comes from. There have been some people who've tried to rationale a difference, but there really isn't one. If you had to be really, really, really anal about it, you could say that a dagger is a knife-sized weapon that has the sword-style tang that I talked about earlier. But that's adding complexity that really doesn't belong there. And I would only really accept it if you were needing to make that distinction for like an RPG or something. It's just gonna be a simple word light source. No, there is a very specific. It's complicated, but the answer is yes, but no. Almost all diamond-shaped small blades are daggers, but not all daggers are diamond-shaped small blades. And again, that's using modern definitions that don't necessarily reflect the way these weapons really were historically. And there are some historians who will fight tooth and nail to apply modern definitions to older weaponry, and I feel that's kind of missing the point of history, of the act of history. It's like anyone who tries to claim that longsword is a real term outside of tabletop gaming. I mean, technically it is, but it's again not a term that the people at the time used. The fully armored knights who were half-swording, well, I mean, they generally called them bastard swords if they called them anything other than just sword. Oh, they also called them swords, which is just a Nordic name for sword. God, what are some other terms they had for them? I want to say hand and a half sword, but I think I'd have to first translate that into Polish for it to really be the right one, because hand and a half is not a term that was used by the English people. And that's another problem with sword history, or military history in general. There's a lot of translation issues, because everyone who does fantasy fiction based in a pastiche of medieval Europe just goes straight up English, when English had a very small Forged in Fire. I wouldn't ever say that they're inaccurate, but there's a lot of treating generalizations as if they were like the most detailed truths. It's an excellent starting point for learning, but I would never use it as a citation, if that makes sense. Yeah. Shut up, Lael. Can you please not let your dog talk in the chat, Super Llama? Kinda, because a lot of their history comes from Wikipedia. I would say World War I is where it really started, but that's not an inaccurate statement for World War II. Though, if you really, really want to be pedantic about it, it really all started when the Industrial Revolution happened in America, when the Industrial Revolution really blew up in America. And even then, that's still playing it fast and loose and taking too many generalizations. The second, the one that happened in the 1800s. Or would that be the first? You'd think I would know this stuff given how much I've read about it, but sometimes even I mess this stuff up. Sorry. Oh, that's the color I was looking for. Yeah, then it's the second one. So if you take worldwide history into account, it's probably the fourth Industrial Revolution. It's just really the first one that stuck. But now we're getting into, like, China did it first. In many ways, China is the Simpsons of history. Yes, they did. And then they walked away from it because slavery was cheaper, which also happened in Egypt. What color should this grip be wrapped in? No, let's just leave it raw wood. We all know how you like your wood raw out there, don't you, kids? I shouldn't say kids in regards to that, that's vulgar. Now that should work. Oh, the industrial revolutions didn't stick because slavery was cheaper. Yeah, that's more of a that's a reading of history that may not necessarily be true, but we also have a little bit of written record saying that it was true. Nothing major, nothing like history changing. Yeah, that's the most important thing, is that they did nothing with their steam power, and it seems like what electricity they had was reserved for tricks and lighting in temples only. Like, the normal people didn't use normal, but the common citizens didn't use electricity at all. And that might not necessarily be exactly true, but it's true enough that because of like the people who had access to electricity were almost always members of the religious castes, I guess is the safest way of saying it. Also, just because I'm a little bit of a history buff, don't expect me to go like on some huge like educational spree thing. I'm not going to become like some teacher. Well, thank you. Thank you for complimenting my NIF. Very plain NIF, and it's from a very plain angle, but it's still a NIF worth being impressed with. Oh, I never expect anyone to remember anything I say. I'm not like the teachers used to say I should have gone to become a teacher in Panda School, but that was never going to happen. What did I do? Oh. I didn't do anything bad. Now let's drop that and get started on this. First things first, let's all of the colors that I've done so far in the liner. Let's hide everything. And get up close and personal with these bushes. Haha. There's a bad joke there. I'm not going to make it publicly. Just add a little more depth to it. Make the berries look like they're actually like a part of the bush as opposed to just being laid over it. It's not much, but it's just a little something to add a little more depth to it. The little things like that really do make can really make kind of a they add a bit more to it. Is all it was what I'm trying to say. You know, paying attention to the small details is always important. If you're wondering what this is about here, it allows me to just go select the entire area, but secondly, it fills gaps. Because what happens is if you're using the bucket tool, you're not actually going to get everything lined up perfectly with the black lines. You could go back and chase all of those itty bitty little crevices and like single pixel dots and whatnot and fill them in manually. But something like this, what this does is it just fills it all up in for you, and it does so with like if you use a good thematic color for the composition, it'll actually add a little bit to it, because you have to make sure it's like darker than your highlights. But what it does is it kind of subconsciously informs your mind that, oh yeah, that's the color theme of this picture. Also, color theme. I don't know if that's an actual term in like art stuff, but it's something that it's a term I've come into myself with my own thinking about it. Because pictures need to have like a color theme to them. And by a color theme, I mean like not just your dedicated palette, but like, and it's not just like whether it's a warm or a cool thing either. It's like, okay, she's a strawberry fairy, so we got to use kind of a strawberry reddish color for everything. And let me drink. Oh yeah, that's it. That sounds like a term that makes sense and sounds like a term that actual art academics would use. Chromatic motif. Oh, I did something dumb yesterday. I spent $7 on a video game. For my tablet. I won't even be able to stream it for you all. It's a game purely just to entertain myself. I mean, I probably could get BlueStacks and play it on the computer, but I'm not going to. And for anyone who so I really like Final Fantasy. But I really like the old ones. Oh god. Someone, you better remind me to actually draw that, because, oh god. But there's been basically the old ones, the old school style has basically just been relegated to remakes and like games that aren't even really technically a part of the Final Fantasy franchise anymore. But they did 2 of them for mobile, and both of them are like $7. And they're mobile games that aren't gacha games. What button? Oh, there's the button. And so I ended up buying the first one of the 2. It's called Final Fantasy Dimensions. Uses kind of a chapter system, kind of like what you have in Dragon Quest IV and Final Fantasy IV-2. I got through the 2nd chapter yesterday because if the Lego Star Wars games are any indication, they're going to be better than the movies, at least of the prequel and sequel trilogies. I shouldn't say that. I haven't actually seen all of the sequel trilogies. After Luke's stupid death in the movie, in the 2nd one, I decided that I'm basically just done with Star Wars for probably the rest of my life. Because it was a very mediocre, meh movie all the way up until they kind of just did the character assassination on Luke Skywalker. And then I was just kind of out of it. But it didn't defy my expectations. One of the reasons why the death pissed me off so bad is I saw it coming a mile away. When Luke showed up with his haircut, looking all pristine and shit for the fight, I knew he was dead in that moment. I knew he was a Force ghost. Oh yeah, the Lego games are so much better when you have magic, because I did play the Indiana Jones game, and it fell really flat with the without being able to like magic the Lego pieces. Do that line to do that all in color. It's actually why the Harry Potter games are actually noticeably better than the movies as well. Not that I can say much for that one either. I've only ever seen one of the Harry Potter movies. I did not like the interpretation of the basilisk. That seems like a really dumb thing, but it was more like a culmination of multiple complaints adding up. Oh, just like the Star Wars sequels. There's a type of Lego game that I've been wanting that I know they'll never do, but I seriously want. I want them to do I want them to start doing the Lego movie tie-in style game, but with their own franchises. And I don't just mean like the action hero one either. I want Lego Castle the game. I want Lego Space the game. But done in the style of the old school Lego games. God, that would be so fun. Honestly, if it was in a better script, I would agree with you. Thematically, it fits. I just feel that on top of everything else that movie did wrong, and on top of everything the movie before it did wrong, is where it became in the hands of a writer who cared more. I think it could have been amazing. I think that's really that's kind of my problem with a lot of Star Trek, with a lot of what's happening to Star Trek. A lot of amazing ideas just handled very lazily. And different writing teams. Not just different director, different writing teams. When it comes to these long-ranging franchises like a Star Wars or a Star Trek or a Warhammer, the thing that frustrates me the most is always wasted potential. Okay, sorry. That's usually the second most frustrating thing. The most frustrating thing is, well, when GW just jacks their prices up without any logical explanation, charging over 700% markup compared to costs in an industry where standard markup is usually around 350%. Or in the case of their purely plastic sets, 3,000% markup. I'm complaining. Sorry, everyone. Let's get on to a better topic. You know what? Actually, the era thing, Star Trek has gotten away from that. That's actually one of the things I really, really like, both about Discovery and Picard. Now, there's a lot to complain about. I'm not going to complain about them because I've been complaining too much, so I'm just going to focus on the good things. And that's something I really like. Star Trek has moved through Picard. They've both somehow moved forward and back. That's a little weird because they went to a new mirror universe. They went to the 2000s of a new mirror universe. It's a little weird. But they were dealing with the post-destruction of Romulus era, which is an area that hasn't been explored a lot in the fiction, which is good. And in Discovery, they've jumped 1,000 years into the future to the 3000s. And there's a lot of interesting storytelling there's a lot of interesting world building going on in that era. I'm not exactly happy with how they explained away the aim. At one point in recent history, or rather like 200 years prior to the time frame they landed in, all of the dilithium in the alpha and beta quadrants just destroyed. It just blew up. And that caused the entire interstellar community to collapse. Because at that point, all they had left was... Oh yeah, I know very little of Cannon Busters, but I've heard of it, and that tracks with what I've heard. I'm not even sure I've heard of Cannon Busters. It's just the name sounds familiar. No worries, no worries. We're just talking, and I'm coloring a big booba fairy. Oh, speaking of big booba fairy, sorry for the distraction, but she recently changed from being R cup to U cup because her character model, the breast size, got a little bit bigger. I was on the wrong layer. I thought I was on the right layer. And she changed it from R cup to U cup. So instead of being recorder cup because she plays the recorder, she's now U cup because her chest is full of love for you. So silly. But anyways, yeah, the Star Trek world building stuff. They've just done a lot of good stuff with the world building. It's just the actual episodes themselves are hard to watch at best. Though anything that actually focuses on the Discovery character Tilly tends to be really good. I actually genuinely like Tilly. She's a science officer on the Discovery, and she's basically a second look at the Reginald Barclay archetype, a character who isn't Starfleet's best and brightest, but is still a superior intellect and is trying to keep up with, well, the people put on, in this case, an experimental vessel that's using experimental technology. You really should. Just like how I should really get back to Final Fantasy XIV. I am so far behind. And okay, this is stupid. My Twitter account. I haven't talked about Final Fantasy XIV on it. I don't follow anyone on it that does Final Fantasy XIV stuff on it. It's all VTubing stuff because I'm a VTuber and I wanted to keep my Twitter account tied to what I do. I still get trending topics and you would like this based on Final Fantasy XIV stuff. Which is bad because I'm behind in the game. I am not at 6.1. I'm not even at 3.0. Yeah. Why with my own little private world building projects, I have to have 3 different universes. That way my ideas don't, technically 4 now, but that way my ideas don't cross-pollinate and carry over and eat into each other. And well, I guess 1 could be considered a retired universe because I don't actually ever plan on going back to it. Unless I absolutely have to for some reason. And when I say my own writing projects, I mean tabletop games. Oh yes, Final Fantasy XIV, with its free trial that covers the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the award-winning Heavensward expansion up to level 60 with no restriction on its playtime. Yes, they are. They're very hard to. The biggest problem with editors is that they're very hard to come by. Like a good editor is really hard to come by. Or at least it's really hard to come by when you're on a budget. What about an abundance of beautiful evil ladies to interact with? Because just off the top of my head, I can think of two. And I know there's more. You know what? That is a respectable position to have. Yep. Destiny 2 is more of a forever game like an MMO. It's just not an MMO per se. And generally speaking, people don't have enough time for multiple forever games. Strange tangent, but generally related to this. The update to Overwatch, which they claim is a sequel but is really just a UI change and slight modification to some of the character models. They de-assed a girl again. They took the butt away from one of the girls. Initially it was the sniper chick and now it's like the time girl. Oof. Yeah, I don't know what they did to any of the mechanics. I only really noticed the when people were complaining about the character models, and while it didn't really bother me because it doesn't affect me, I will never play it. I don't enjoy first-person shooters. I still thought it was kind of dumb that they constantly do that. It's like WoW is afraid of having attractive female characters. Not like, okay, no, maybe that's an overstatement. That is a gross overstatement. I should walk that back a lot. But it's like every once in a while they'll do something to just reduce their popularity with the horny fan artists. They took that away? Wow. Now that my Red Bull's empty, I should open up my water bottle. I have a store brand Diet Cola bottle full of water next to me. Oh yeah, hydration check, everybody. Oh, that also means saving. Also, if anyone's working on anything, save. And yes, I know for anyone who's familiar with Ichika's model, this is way too dark for her hair. I have plans. I'm going to experiment with something. A method of doing hair different than what I normally do. And something that'll make the hair stand out as different from the rest of the picture. For those of you who've been paying close attention, you'll probably notice that oh, you have been EA. Ooh. I look forward to your debut. But anyways, before that distraction, what I've been doing, how I do it is I'll do effectively one layer of shadow, one layer of deep shadow, and then like little itty bits here and there. And then one layer of highlight, one layer of brighter highlight, then little itty bitty hit bits here and there. Well, what I'm going to try here is I'm just going to do the one layer of really dark shadows in soft, and then I'm just going to do everything up from highlight. Okay, I'll go take a look at that after I'm done streaming. Gage is, for anyone who doesn't know, Gage is another VTuber who's over on Twitch. One of these days, I owe Gage my collab virginity. Okay, it looks like I'm gonna have to go back and do like little deep shadow corners with hard brush. So yeah, my initial idea isn't gonna work, but I'm still gonna be able to get to the lighter and lighter and lighter colors. It'll make the hair, I think it'll make, in the end, it'll make the hair look softer, and less plasticky, which is a problem I'm always fighting against when it comes to hair. I do have a very anime-inspired art style. A little more saturated would be nice, I think. Let's take the actual shadow color that I have and do something with it, just to define some shapes. Making testificate noises even though I actually uninstalled Minecraft. Hadn't logged in for so long. Lately my shut off my brain and just do things game is Tetris or RimWorld. And no, I don't think I could actually do a Tetris stream. Requires too much concentration. It doesn't really shut off the brain, it just requires hyper focus on one thing. As opposed to running a million miles a minute, going over every little idea. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say anything. I would be... The only sound you would get out of me is me reacting to the game itself violently and angrily. Oh, train, go and take a drink. And that's kind of the problem. You can't really be a streamer just sitting there silently, which I say right after sitting there silently and drawing. I feel like drawing, though, has a different expectation than playing games. Maybe it's just the fact that I come out of a lot of Let's Play communities, so you're expected to be, and in those you're supposed to be presenting the game to the audience. And speedrunning, you're supposed to be talking about how you're speedrunning, and I used to watch a lot of speedruns. Still do on occasion, just not as much as I used to. I'll worry about the Hoge later. Its own special. I need to go back to those trees and clean those up a little bit. Or rather, the highlights on the tree, to be specific. I thought I was too, but then I decided not to. I played around with it a little bit after stream last time and I wasn't liking how it was looking. I'm going to do a little bit of blur, but not as much as I would need to make the trees. Let's do that right now since I'm here and thinking about it. also, for those of you who actually care and are worried, don't worry about me doing things off stream. I'll never do like anything critically important, like actually doing the work itself. It's always just playing around with ideas, seeing what will work for the next time I do stream. Or it's, you know, private art, but that doesn't count. Yes, I do draw things that you don't see. Don't worry, it'll be posted eventually. Well, some of it will. Some stuff I can't share. The pains of being an artist. Yeah, the game that I've been playing lately, well, I spent yesterday playing mostly, is Final Fantasy Dimensions 1. Recovery save. It follows the kind of the class model from Final Fantasy V, I think. I haven't gotten far enough to unlock them, but I do have the menus for it, and it has, like, you know, class changing and whatnot. Just do a single Gaussian blur. Tangent. It's been fun so far. One thing I do really like about it that plays with the formula is instead of just being a single group of Warriors of Light, you're actually two groups. One Warriors of Darkness, one Warriors of Light. I'm at a point in the game where it hasn't actually officially told me that yet, but even if I wasn't spoiled on the game a little bit, it would make sense. Because the franchise, you know, darkness is not inherently evil, it's just the opposite of light, and neither can exist without each other. That's actually been kind of a thesis statement of the franchise since 3. The only reason why darkness is tied with evil is that evil things can use darkness to go bump. Having some fun with it. Bump, bump. Since it uses a chapter-based system, I'm probably not going to be jumping back and forth between them. But I do know that I'm pretty sure what's going to happen. I'm going to play chapters 1, I'm going to play chapters the other, and there are going to be 2 different perspectives on a similar event. Because that's what's happened. That's what happened with chapters 1 and 2. Chapter 1 was forming your starting party. And then chapter 2 was... Oh, and it ended with an event happening that was then like it was then crashed by a group of other people. And then chapter 2 was that group of other people and their trip through the same dungeon, just a different half of the same dungeon, to crash the event at the end of chapter 1. No, let's make that pink in there. Yeah, that's better. Pink is good. Pink is a great color. Ribbon. Ribbon that's in the light. That's going to be fun. It's not going to be that difficult at all because it's dealing with going to be all shades of, it's green and all shades of yellow. Sorry for the keyboard noises being so loud. The keyboard is literally right beneath the microphone because that's the best way I can have it set up given my table setup. But I guess some people might like the thock. Not clonk, thock. Thank you. Oh, the strawberry up there. You made me snort, Giggle. Be proud of yourself. Yes, they are. Not the main reason, but one of the reasons why I chose cherry over strawberry, even though strawberry tends to be more of a... Sorry for the behind the scenes talk here, but strawberries tend to be more of a representative fruit for sangria, the drink. The reason why I chose cherry, easier to draw. And that's why my Oshimark is cherries. All that's left is the dress and the eyes. Let's take that tie into its own layer and do that first. Also, for those of you who don't know, basically what a sangria is a glass of wine, typically red wine, that has had lots and lots of fruit just drowned in it. Well, it's more like fruity booze, because while you do eat the fruit sometimes, you're mostly expected just to drink the wine. Actually, one of the few ways to get me to drink. That and wine coolers. Straight alcohol flavor, just no. Gotta overpower that shit with fruit. Saving means I save. And if you all are working on something, save. Now I get to figure out how to add sequence. Let's see if noise will do it. Nope. Let's see. Nope. Let's see if there's something in here that I can do it with. Sparkles. Oh no, I mean, yeah, I do need to use those later, but that's not what I want. Will glitter do it? Kind of the effect I'm looking for, but not exactly. If bigger particle sizes. Lower the spray deviation. Let's see if I can lower the density. I've already put down the particle density as small as I can get it. let's see lower particle density with slightly lower particle size. Not the exact thing that I'm looking for. Ooh, that's a lot better. Not perfect, but it is a lot better. I think that when combined with some lighting effects afterwards will give a proper effect. Oh. Good night. Hope to see you in my next stream, which might be happening tomorrow night, but not necessarily. I got a lot of errands to run tomorrow, so I might not actually be doing the Chrono Trigger stream this week. I won't be setting up a waiting room for it. If it happens, it happens, but if not, it won't happen. Yeah, good night. Do the makeup before we do the eyes. Don't want to be doing that over the eye, over the eyelids, over the hair. Save the hair for soon. Wasn't thinking. Normally I would like move the hair above all of this stuff and then compress it later, but I wasn't thinking. Just distracted drawing and talking with y'all. Oh no, it's... As much as I do thoroughly enjoy talking with y'all and talking with you and all of that jazz, if you got your things you need to be doing, then do the things you need to be doing. Even if said thing is just, feeding the beast that is an obsession with original characters. The Paint Your Highlight tool is such a useful tool. Oh my god. Like, I had it in Paint Tool Sci when I was still working with that all the time, but this is just so much more benefit. Like, so much better here. And honestly, the tool's not even that significantly different in how it functions. It just feels so much better with the way they do it. I think she has pink eyes, but I need to check the words. Okay, pink with a little bit of purple on the right. A little bit. This is just the shadow on the whites. Sorry. Try not to do that, but the hiccup happened. Okay, I need a little brighter. Let's do start the transition. That's better. Oh, that's both the eyelids and the lid. Well, I'm just going to do the eyelid separately. Okay, time to draw an eye. First, I need to do that. And selected area. Now we do. Let's glow this. Yeah, I'm just experimenting and playing around with ideas now. I messed that up. How far back did I? Okay, so that's where I was when I last. Okay. That was a scare. Okay. Give me a moment. I need to go take an idle meeting. guess who's back? Back again. Delete us back. Tell your friends. Yada 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 yada. I don't know the rest of the song. Get rid of those wings and create a buffer so I don't fuck anything up. Let's sketch out these wings. I actually don't remember that whole song. And honestly, with what I do remember, I don't think I want to. I don't know if you can see it or not, I probably can't, but every single time I go to hit Control Z for the first time, I accidentally hit Alt Z, which doesn't do anything, thankfully. It doesn't have like any commands tied to it. But it still brings up the, not Alt Z, the Windows buttons as Z. So it brings up the base Windows button. Did I run out of music on the list? I did. Oh, wow. Oh. It's not even fat fingering. It's just missing the button because it's so far away. My setup for how my keyboard and mouse is right now is very awkward because I don't have enough space on my desk. Getting close. No, wrong one. I mean, yeah, she has fancy wings. I'm going for green and yellow instead of yellow and orange because they do change from model to model. I like green a little bit better and I think it fits the overall composition a bit better. Oh, I should probably put a ink right at the base, come to think of it. Those wasn't really thinking much about design, only really thinking about the composition itself, the wings, but the pink at the base wouldn't hurt. Or it would, actually. We go with this. You know what, screw it, we'll just do that and call it good. I do a little more, but for example, oh. Okay. Okay. Yep, I should probably save. Never gave her a lipstick. for me to get that, but it happens sometimes. Let's put that in before I call this done. No. That was a good start, but it's... much better, but let's... I have found the flip button. Yay. what? I think this is done. Yeah, I think it's done. Regardless of whether it's not, I'm going to call it done here. And yeah, I think this is good. Oh, nope. I just noticed something. Wow. Just noticed something. I need to do this right away and before I can actually call it done. I hate when this happens, but it always happens. It's always some last minute thing because you get too preoccupied doing the thing, trying to be good, trying to entertain, and you forget something important. Now we go. Now I can call this done. And I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me tonight. I hope I was entertaining, and I had a lot of fun hanging out with you all and drawing tonight. So I look forward to doing this again next week. I will be streaming again on Sunday for Crosscode. I do not know if I'll be streaming tomorrow night for Chrono Trigger. I'm not going to set up a waiting room until like it's confirmed that I will be able to. I've got some stupid errands to run tomorrow and I'm probably too tired to stream, and I do not want to come in here and just, you know, half-ass it because I'm exhausted after dealing with people in public and whatnot. So yeah, I'll definitely see you all on Sunday, and I will probably see you all, oh, maybe not probably won't see you tomorrow, but if I do, yay. If not, it's okay. So yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight, and I look forward to hanging out with you all again. And bye bye. Oh, sangria.